Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Uchiha clan's territory, under the blossoming cherry tree, stood a handsome young man who looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. At this moment, the young man was caressing the trunk of the cherry tree with one hand. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Nine-magatama Samsara Eye plus 0.3. A cold, mechanical voice reminded Uchiha Manye in his mind. After hearing the prompt in his mind, Uchiha Manye looked at the cherry tree in front of him with some surprise. Uchiha Manye is a time traveler. He traveled to the world of Naruto more than 10 years ago. His identity is Uchiha Fugaku, the cousin of the current clan leader. He is also the uncle of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. When Uchiha Manye was 7 years old, the strongest sign-in system was opened. You can sign in once a day at any place and get rewards given by the system, and the place where you sign in is special. Then the rewards you get are more generous. When Uchiha Manye opened the system, it happened to be the Uchiha festival to worship ancestors. By chance, Uchiha Manye opened his first sign-in the Nanha temple where Uchiha worships ancestors of all generations. What made Uchiha Manye happy was that he actually got a pair of Nine-magatama Samsara Eyes at the first sign-in. You know, even the ancestor of Chakra, Kagaya Otsutsuki, only had one Nine-magatama Samsara Eye. Except for her, no one has it anymore. Uchiha Manye gets a pair when he signs in. Uchiha Manye, who got the Nine-magatama Samsara Eye, did not get arrogant. After observing his own Nine-magatama Samsara Eye, as expected, he just opened the Nine-magatama Samsara Eye, in Konoha, and in this extremely sensitive era, the Third World War had just ended, all families must have been suppressed, and Uchiha, he must be the first to be hit. You have to know that not long after this, Orochimaru defected, the fourth Hokage took over, the Nine-Tails Rebellion, the Uchiha clan was isolated and exterminated. This series of events, all of these are about to happen. Therefore, before the Uchiha clan is exterminated, Uchiha Manye must improve his strength. If he wants to strengthen his Nine-magatama Samsara Eye, he must use sign-in to improve his Nine-magatama Samsara Eye. Of course, the system's rewards are not limited to improving the Nine-magatama Samsara Eye. He often gains some other abilities, so Uchiha Manye started his sign-in journey all over Konoha. In the entire Konoha village, except for some extremely private forbidden areas, Uchiha Manye has not been to basically any distinctive place. Uchiha Manye has signed in there. So far, Uchiha Manye has signed in Konoha for more than 10 years. Open the system panel. Uchiha Manye said silently in his heart. A light blue panel that only Uchiha Manye could see appeared out of thin air. Host, Uchiha Manye. Level, movie. Comment, almost no one in the world says you are an opponent anymore. Special ability, Nine-magatama Samsara Eye 28.9%. Currently unlocked, primary 6 paths, Sky Hand Power. Abilities, Observation Haki, Armament Haki, Conqueror Haki, Mastery of all 5 elements except S-level escape techniques, Forbidden Technique Multiple Shadow Clone Technique, Thunder Method Chidori. Uchiha Manye looked at his dazzling system panel, he nodded with satisfaction and closed the system panel. Alas, my big brother. Uchiha Manye suddenly shook his head and sighed, the heroic spirit in his eyes disappeared instantly. Now, the Third Ninja World War is about to end, but in fact, when the Third Ninja World War just started, Uchiha Manye asked his cousin, Uchiha Fugaku, to follow the tribe to the war. Unfortunately, he was ruthlessly rejected by Uchiha Fugaku. In fact, according to Uchiha Manye's current age, he should have been arranged to go to the battlefield, because in wartime, children over 10 years old in many countries should go to the battlefield. This is because the ninja village has been established and there is a seemingly stable order. If it was during the Warring States period, even 6-year-old children would be dragged to the battlefield. So Uchiha Manye successfully participated in this third. The Ninja World War should be natural. No matter what, it's a pity that his cousin, Uchiha Fugaku, refused to go. Even his own children were sent to the battlefield, but he was unwilling to let him go. It is said that because Uchiha Fugaku's parents died in the mission when he was young, he placed his hopes on his mother's cousin, that is, his father. Because his father had no children, he treated Uchiha Fugaku more like his own son, and supported Uchiha Fugaku to become the head of the clan. However, the good times did not last long. Uchiha Manye's father died in the second year after Uchiha Manye was born. and Uchiha Manye's mother also died due to old age and dystocia. Uchiha Fugaku was ashamed for not repaying his father for raising him, so he was ashamed for Uchiha Minami, the biological son of his adoptive father. Uchiha Fugaku gave almost everything he could, so when Uchiha Manye applied to participate in the Third Ninja World War, Uchiha Fugaku refused without hesitation. He also issued an order, asking Uchiha Manye to be the captain of the Uchiha Guard and let him patrol Konoha with people every day. Originally, Uchiha Manye wanted to argue with him, but Uchiha Fugaku refused to give in no matter what. However, when he saw the Uchiha Guard, Uchiha Manye suddenly thought that the combat power of the Uchiha Guard is extremely lacking and scarce. Once Sarutobi Hiruzen above makes things difficult for himself and others, I am afraid that the Uchiha clan is unable to deal with it now. And unable to deal with what happened in the village, the influence of the Uchiha Guard will also be reduced in the village. In the end, because of the law enforcement problem, the Uchiha Guards, who were alienated from the villagers, would probably have their power taken back by Sarutobi Hiruzen, and the Uchiha clan would naturally feel resentment towards Konoha. That would probably be the time when the Uchiha clan would start a battle with Konoha. Uchiha Manye did not want to fight Konoha with bloodshed. He was not afraid of the third generation or others. Now Uchiha Manye's strength is already at the top of the ninja world, not to mention being able to suppress the entire Konoha. At least it would be no problem to bear the pressure of Konoha and fight with his clan members. But Uchiha Manye understood that the Uchiha clan, which was deeply rooted in Konoha, would definitely not leave with him. At that time, the Uchiha clan had a shallow foundation in Konoha. Uchiha Madara even possessed the power of gods and demons, and those Uchiha clan members, under the temptation of Konoha's huge power, were still unwilling to leave with Uchiha Madara, and now Uchiha Manye's influence and strength are not as good as Uchiha Madara's. The Uchiha clan was even more involved with Konoha. Even if he exploded with amazing power, it would be in vain. As long as Sarutobi Hiruzen could show real power, most of the Uchiha clan would turn against him instantly. After all, they had grown up in Konoha for generations. Their bond with Konoha was too deep. If they were not desperate, no one would be willing to leave Konoha. At that time, Uchiha Manye shook his head helplessly and accepted Uchiha Fugaku's appointment letter. Master Wanye, that a voice came, immediately interrupting Uchiha Manye's memories. Uchiha Manye looked carefully and saw a young man wearing an Uchiha uniform and a ninja forehead protector. He hurriedly came to his side. "What's wrong?" Uchiha Manye asked. "Report to Master Manye. The war is over, Konoha has won a great victory, and our team will be back soon." The young man immediately reported. "Oh. Really? Come on, follow me to welcome them." Uchiha Manye raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard that the war was over, then he quickly said to the young man in front of him, as he expected, the Third Ninja World War was coming to an end. "Yes, Master Wanye." That the young man replied to Wanye respectfully and came behind Wanye. Uchiha Manye took the young man to the gate of Konoha. 11 reading every day, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The main gate of Konoha, both sides of the street were filled with residents of Konoha. They were holding flower baskets in their hands. They looked out of the gate expectantly. Walking to the end of the street, you will see a temporary platform. The platform was covered with colorful flowers. A group of ninjas stood on the street. They had beaming smiles on their faces. They talked enthusiastically to the people around them. The top leader of Konoha, the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, with 2 advisors and the leader of the route, Shimura Danzo, walked up the platform and looked at the main gate at the end of the intersection. Suddenly, a large group of dark figures appeared outside the main gate. "Woo!" Everyone present cheered when they saw the figures appearing. The residents reached out to grab the flower baskets in their own or others' hands and threw them into the sky. The whole street was instantly covered with colorful petals. The first person to step into the gate was Jiraiya, who had long white hair and a forehead protector on his head. Beside Jiraiya was a yellow figure that attracted everyone's attention. It was Konoha's Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze. Following behind him was the young Kakashi, who covered his left eye with a forehead protector and wore a mask that covered most of his face. He looked coldly at the happy crowd. The long ninja team followed Jiraiya into the gate of Konoha. The ninjas, he waved to the residents on both sides and continued walking forward along the street. Then Tsunade also stepped into the gate of Konoha. he walked in front of all the ninjas and walked along the street in a daze. Then Orochimaru, with a gloomy face, also stepped into the gate of Konoha. He also walked along the street with a group of ninjas with a calm face. After each wave of people walked into the gate of Konoha, the residents on both sides would burst into more enthusiastic shouts. "Welcome back, heroes!" Soon, all the ninjas gathered at the end of the street, on the square with high platforms of flowers, to see their relatives and friends. The whole square was instantly bustling. Some people were happy, some were sad, some were angry, and some were dazed and at a loss. Uchiha Manye walked behind Tsunade. There was a group of soldiers with the Uchiha clan emblem on their clothes. At this moment, the Uchiha clan members saw Uchiha Manye coming. They all greeted him. After Uchiha Manye responded to them, he walked to a boy who looked about 4 or 5 years old with dull eyes and no sadness or joy. "Uchiha Itachi." Uchiha Manye put a hand on Uchiha Itachi's thin shoulder, feeling the familiar warmth on his arm. Uchiha Itachi's eyes gradually became brighter. "Uncle." Uchiha Itachi looked up at Uchiha Manye. He opened his mouth slightly and was about to ask, but was gently interrupted by Uchiha Manye. "Uchiha Itachi." Uchiha Manye shook his head. He gently patted Uchiha Itachi's arms twice, then he looked up at the third generation on the platform. Uchiha Itachi followed Uchiha Manye and looked up at the third generation. "The war is over, and each of you is the best ninja in Konoha." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked around at the ninjas in the audience and said in a strong voice. "Oh!" Sarutobi Hiruzen's words instantly caused the ninjas below to cheer. "War is cruel. In the battle here, countless of our compatriots have passed away in this battle. Let us observe a moment of silence for these 8,763 most lovely compatriots." Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a resounding voice. He took off the Hokage hat on his forehead, placed it in front of his chest, lowered his head slightly, closed his eyes, and slightly bent his body. After hearing the words of the third Hokage, the ninjas below felt a sense of sadness in their hearts. They lowered their heads and bowed slightly. They all observed a moment of silence for their dead compatriots. The villagers who were rejoicing in the distance seemed to realize something. They stopped what they were doing and began to observe a moment of silence for the soldiers who died in this war. There was silence on the field, and no one dared to breathe loudly. Time passed by bit by bit. The victory of the war was brought about by you and them together. From now on, please live a good life together with them. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke again, breaking the terrifying silence. "Next, I ask you to rest well in the peace you have brought." Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Without further ado, he prepared to leave with Danzo and the other two. Now is not the time for long speeches. The soldiers are now physically and mentally exhausted. If he continues to talk a little more, it will not be good for him or the soldiers. The brainwashing-style long speeches should be saved for the commendation meeting later. The third generation walked down the stairs step by step, and he couldn't help but think in his heart. The ninjas present also had some intention of retreating. After all, they had been fighting with 3 countries non-stop before. If they won the battlefield here, they might have to rush to another battlefield immediately. Almost every day they were at the limit of what their bodies could bear, although when they returned these few days, everyone had already resumed a peaceful sleep. But in the camp outside, how could it be as comfortable as their own big bed? And Uchiha Manye, seeing this, was ready to retreat with everyone. At this moment, a noisy discussion suddenly came out in front of Uchiha Manye. "I tell you, this time in the battle with the Mist Ninja, my Sarutobi clan made great contributions to Konoha. To be honest, if it weren't for my Sarutobi clan, the troops sent by Konoha to fight against the Mist Ninja would never be able to defeat them." A young man with left curled hair, ordinary appearance, and a forehead protector, who looked about 15 or 16 years old, said to the people around him incessantly. "What about the Uchiha clan? The Uchiha clan should have made a lot of efforts in this battle, right?" A ninja who did not participate in the battle immediately asked Asuma. "Yes. The main battlefield of the Uchiha clan was in the land of water, so they must have made a lot of efforts, right?" The people around who didn't know what was going on also echoed and asked. "Uchiha clan? The red-eyed clan? I get angry when I mention this clan. How could such a clan exist in our Konoha?" That when Asuma Sarutobi heard people around him mention the Uchiha clan, his face turned extremely disdainful and he said angrily. Hey! Asuma, how can you say that? The Uchiha clan has sent back a lot of battle reports. Do you think it's fun to belittle the Uchiha clan like this? A man with a forehead protector and white eyes stood up and asked Asuma Sarutobi in a harsh voice. The Uchiha clan's military exploits? Didn't they just pick up the loose ends? They always hide behind our Sarutobi clan, and once the enemy is injured, they will go up to finish off the enemy. Is that true? Sarutobi Asuma replied disdainfully. Uchiha Manye and the Uchiha clan members happened to be behind the crowd. They heard Sarutobi Asuma's words clearly. All the Uchiha clan members turned pale. Read books every day on Double 11, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You're talking nonsense. My Uchiha clan is obviously not like that. A young man suddenly walked out of the Uchiha clan and shouted at Asuma Sarutobi, you have to know that when the water country started, basically only their Uchiha people were fighting. If it weren't for the timely support from behind, they would not be able to come back, but the Uchiha clan also made the other side pay a heavier price. In the battle, the Uchiha clan members who saw their brothers fall in front of them almost all opened the Sharingan. With the improvement brought by the Sharingan, they were able to successfully hold on until the reinforcements arrived under the attack of the water country, whose number was several times that of their side. Now their Uchiha clan was actually ridiculed by Asuma Sarutobi. How could he bear it? All the Uchiha clan members present were filled with anger and retorted to Sarutobi Asuma. You are all from the Uchiha clan, and you all speak the same language. Do you think we all believe it? Sarutobi Asuma smiled grimly and questioned the Uchiha clan members. How could I not believe it? Everyone has seen the desperate struggle of our Uchiha clan. After hearing what Sarutobi Asuma said, the Uchiha youth immediately turned his head and looked at a comrade who had turned his back to him on the battlefield of the water country, and asked. You should be very clear about this. Our Uchiha's record of fighting for their lives. How did it become that he hid behind everyone to kill the wounded? The man who was asked did not follow the Uchiha clan member to tell the truth. Instead, he said coldly. Really? I don't know. One is the Uchiha clan member who used to enforce the law and discipline them in the village. He has been hated for a long time. The other is the son of the third Hokage who is the center of attention. It should not be difficult to decide who to speak for. The rest of the Uchiha clan members also turned their eyes to their former comrades who fought together, but seeing the cold eyes of those comrades, the Uchiha clan members were desperate. Obviously, they usually speak arrogantly, but they did nothing else, they just performed their tasks according to the laws of Konoha. Why do these people, even the record we exchanged our lives for is denied? Everyone, I don't need to say more, right? The Uchiha clan became famous by playing this little trick. I really feel ashamed for them. Sarutobi Asuma looked at the faces of the people, the smile on his face became a little rampant, and he said to the crowd in a sensational way. So this is what the Uchiha clan is like. I used to think they were a little arrogant, but I didn't think they did anything wrong. But I didn't expect that they were actually a clan that secretly robbed their comrades of their military exploits. Yes. Although everyone hates the Uchiha clan, I always think that what the Uchiha clan did is understandable. But when I saw so many people saying bad things about them, I didn't say anything. It turns out that I was wrong. These people are really bad. I suggest that the Hokage deprive the Uchiha clan of their power. These villains can still sit in such a high position. They are really not sons of men. Okay, we strongly request that Hokage revoke the power of the Uchiha clan. That a single stone can cause 1,000 waves. More and more people are cursing the Uchiha clan. Those who were originally on the sidelines also began to curse the Uchiha clan. The little things that the Uchiha clan did on a daily basis were all criticized. For example, someone said that the Uchiha clan did not throw the garbage in the trash can before, and it turned out that they were villains, and the people next to them also remembered a little thing that the Uchiha clan did, and they also said it out, cursing the Uchiha clan. Do you have anything else to say? Sarutobi Asuma looked at the Uchiha clan's team wildly and asked provocatively. The Uchiha clan members only felt a surge of anger in their chests, but they could not spit it out no matter what. Humph, Uchiha Manye snorted coldly, took a step, and instantly pushed through the crowd in front of him and came to Sarutobi Asuma. You! Asuma Sarutobi felt a flash before his eyes, and Uchiha Manye appeared in front of him. Just as he asked, he saw a white hand suddenly enlarged in his pupils. His body had no time to react. Pa! A loud and clear sound was heard. Everyone present was stunned by the scene happening before their eyes. Asuma Sarutobi had a deep red slap mark on his left cheek. Crack! The sound of bones twisting was particularly loud in the silent square. You! Sarutobi Asuma turned his head and pointed a finger at Uchiha Manye, and was about to ask. Pa! Uchiha Manye slapped him again. Red palm print was also printed on his right cheek. Uchiha Manye did not stop his hand movements. He once again raised his right palm and hit Sarutobi Asuma. Pa! 3 crisp slaps sounded. Sarutobi Asuma's face was now covered with deep red palm prints. It was swollen like a pig's head. Uchiha Manye did not stop, and raised his palm to hit Sarutobi Asuma again. Slow down. Pa! A shout suddenly came from the side, but it was too late. Uchiha Manye's palm fell. Uchiha Manye, are you bullying me? The man who was first questioned by the Uchiha clan members stood up and scolded. Pa! Uchiha Manye still ignored him. Another slap hit Sarutobi Asuma's face. Damn it! Seeing that persuasion failed, he cursed inwardly. He immediately rushed towards Uchiha Manye. After all, Sarutobi Asuma was the son of the third Hokage. If he was connected to Sarutobi Asuma, wouldn't he be able to learn a B-level ninjutsu and become an elite genin? And his future children would also have B-level ninjutsu. At this moment, the man didn't care about the rumors about Uchiha Manye's genius. Uchiha Manye seemed not to see the man rushing towards him. He raised his hand and was about to swing at Sarutobi Asuma again. Stop! The man came to Uchiha Manye in a few steps. He shouted loudly and then stretched out his hands to hug Uchiha Manye's arms. Pa! The slap still hit Asuma Sarutobi's face. The man who had just held Uchiha Manye's arm was already in the sky. The man in the sky was in a state of confusion. Suddenly, a force of gravity came and pulled him back to reality. The man in the sky fell down quickly. The people below saw that it was not good. They hurriedly left the place. Bang! The man fell heavily from the sky. His body came into close contact with the bricks on the ground. What happened here? 11. Read books every day, top up 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What happened here? Such a big commotion happened here. Naturally, it alarmed the Sandaime Hokage and the 3 elders who were about to leave. When everyone saw the newcomer, they made way for him. Sarutobi Hiruzen then saw the situation here. At first glance, Sarutobi Hiruzen noticed Uchiha Manye. Sarutobi Hiruzen was very impressed with Uchiha Manye. He opened the Sharingan at the age of 9, which was considered a great genius in the history of Uchiha. At that time, Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to recruit Uchiha Manye for his own use. However, Uchiha Manye was protected too well by Uchiha Fugaku. As a result, Sarutobi Hiruzen never had the chance to brainwash people. This matter has always been a thorn in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. However, the only 2 things that made Sarutobi Hiruzen feel relieved were, in the second year, Uchiha Shisui, a genius who was a little bit more talented than Uchiha Manye, was successfully brainwashed by him. In addition, in recent years, Uchiha Itachi has appeared again. He is a rare genius in the history of Uchiha. He has already begun to be instilled with brainwashing ideas by himself. He just needs to wait for the seeds to sprout. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen even showed a smile on his face when he looked at Uchiha Manye. What happened here? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Uchiha Manye standing in front of a pig head and asked the person next to him. Sir, this. The man looked at the third Hokage and asked him a question. He was startled and didn't dare to answer. When Uchiha Manye saw the third Hokage coming, he didn't continue to slap Sarutobi Asuma. Instead, he turned around and looked at the third Hokage and the 3 people beside him. What happened here? Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya with Minato, who had left together, also noticed the movement here and rushed back. At the same time, many direct descendants of the family came here to watch. Asuma, who was not beaten again, looked at Uchiha Manye in horror. He ran to the 3rd generation with tears in his eyes. Young man, don't be impatient, tell me slowly, what happened here. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not recognize that the pig-headed man in front of him was his son. He asked with a forced smile. The pig-headed Sarutobi Asuma kept smacking his lips, but he couldn't utter a single word. When Sarutobi Asuma found that he couldn't make a sound, he immediately pointed at himself, then at Uchiha Manye. Then he spread out his 5 fingers and gestured on his swollen face. Child, are you dumb? Who among you knows sign language? Come and help this child. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Asuma's strange movements. He couldn't help but guess that he couldn't speak, and immediately asked around. Everyone shook their heads. Tsunade, do you know sign language? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Tsunade and asked. Who knows something as powerful as sign language? Tsunade saw Sarutobi Hiruzen looking at her immediately. She couldn't help but complain. Tsunade. Awesome. Jiraiya immediately jumped out and said to Sarutobi Hiruzen with a confident look on his face. Teacher, I can. Do you really know how to do it? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with some disbelief. After all, he had never seen Jiraiya seriously learn these weird things. If Orochimaru said that he knew sign language, Sarutobi Hiruzen would immediately be the first to believe it. Leave it to me. I, Jiraiya, have been practicing sign language for 18 years, so it shouldn't be a problem, Jiraiya assured, patting his chest. Then you try it. Now there was no one else who understood sign language. Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to let Jiraiya try. Jiraiya took 2 steps and came to Sarutobi Asuma. You should start quickly. Asuma Sarutobi nodded his pig head again, then he stretched out his palm in front of Jiraiya. Then he stretched out his 5 fingers and quickly pulled towards his swollen right face. Then he pointed at Uchiha Manye behind Jiraiya. However, due to the rapid expansion of Asuma Sarutobi's body at this moment, his pupils had some problems focusing. He actually pointed at Jiraiya. Me? Jiraiya looked at Sarutobi Asuma suddenly pointing at him, coupled with his previous series of strange movements. He couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Jiraiya's eyes suddenly lit up. It seemed that he thought of something. Palm, touch face, point at me. Jiraiya linked the 3 key actions together. I understand. I understand. Thinking of this, Jiraiya stood up suddenly and said loudly. Jiraiya, what do you understand? Can you tell us quickly? Tsunade asked anxiously. Everyone present nodded. Obviously, they also wanted to know what Jiraiya understood. Jiraiya suddenly raised his palm and slapped Sarutobi Asuma in an instant. Pa! A loud and clear sound resounded throughout the venue once again. Sarutobi Asuma was instantly knocked to the ground. Jiraiya, what are you doing? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked angrily. Don't blame my teacher, he asked me to beat him. He first made a slapping gesture with his hand, then pointed at me, which meant that I should slap him. Jiraiya spread his hands helplessly and said. After hearing Jiraiya's clear and logical argument, everyone nodded unconsciously. Jiraiya, Sarutobi Hiruzen angrily scolded Jiraiya and turned to look at Tsunade. Tsunade, please treat him. Okay, Tsunade agreed immediately and came to Sarutobi Asuma. Seeing that he was crying, she couldn't help but say. Pitiful child. Wanyi, come and tell me what happened here. Sarutobi Hiruzen forced himself to look slightly angry. Because that guy was so mean, I slapped him a few times. Uchiha Manye didn't care about the attitude of the 3rd generation. He pointed at Sarutobi Asuma on the ground and said lightly. What? You said you beat this man's head like this? Hearing Uchiha Manye's reply, Sarutobi Hiruzen was immediately shocked. He quickly looked at the pig-headed man on the ground who was being treated by Tsunade. He also looked at Uchiha Manye's white palm without any abnormality, and a trace of fear rose in his heart. Whose child is this? Uchiha Manye is really cruel. He beat him like this. I am afraid that even his parents don't recognize him. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the pig-headed man again and suddenly thought of what his parents would think if they saw this scene. However, as a Hokage, he was destined not to say these frivolous words in public, and the others who didn't know the whole story, after hearing Uchiha Manye say that the pig-headed man in front of him was beaten like this by him a few slaps, they all labeled Uchiha Manye as a cruel person in their hearts. Who is he? Why did you beat him like this? Sarutobi Hiruzen, relying on his many years of experience, put away the smile in his heart and asked Uchiha Manye seriously, now that he already knew that. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. His surname is Sarutobi, and his given name is Asuma. As for why he was beaten like this, I have just told you, he is a bad mouth. Uchiha Manye said calmly to Sarutobi Hiruzen. He was not afraid that the third Hokage in front of him would be angry with him. In the current ninja world, except for the bond, there is nothing that can stop the current Uchiha Manye. If the third Hokage dares not to give himself a reasonable way to deal with this matter, then, the fishing reel will rise. By then, Sarutobi Hiruzen's situation will be too delicate, but when he comes back again, Konoha will probably follow the Uchiha surname. What? What's his name? Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to think that he had heard it wrong. He hurriedly urged Uchiha Manye to say it again. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought that he had heard it wrong, but the people around him did not think they had heard it wrong. Some people who did not know the situation immediately turned their eyes to the pig-headed man on the ground and looked at him carefully. Some friends who were familiar with Sarutobi Asuma looked at the pig-headed man on the ground carefully. They immediately determined that the pig-headed man on the ground was Sarutobi Asuma. Before they could tell the third Hokage, Uchiha Manye said it again. His name is Sarutobi Asuma, the son of the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Did you hear that clearly now? Uchiha Manye stared into Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes and spoke word by word. Asuma. This time, Sarutobi Hiruzen really heard the name that Uchiha Manye said. He immediately ran to Asuma, who was being treated by Tsunade. Everyone was shocked to hear that Uchiha Manye dared to challenge the third Hokage. At this moment, Asuma, whose face was originally full of fat like a pig's head, gradually lost some of the swelling under Tsunade's treatment. My child, are you okay? Sarutobi Hiruzen came to Sarutobi Asuma and said in pain. It's all right. Asuma. Sarutobi's face has recovered a little, he can already utter a few words slowly. It's actually Asuma Sarutobi, ha 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 ha. Tsunade looked at the father-son relationship between Asuma Sarutobi and Hiruzen Sarutobi, she couldn't help laughing out loud. Tsunade. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Asuma, whose eyes were filled with tears, and immediately shouted at Tsunade. Okay, okay. Stop laughing, Tsunade replied. She held her breath and puffed up a big bump on her pretty face. Can you stand up, kid? Dad will seek justice for you. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked Asuma in his arms with a worried look on his face. Yes. Sarutobi Asuma uttered a few words unclearly. Good. Sarutobi Hiruzen released Sarutobi Asuma from his arms. He immediately stood up and came to Uchiha Manye in anger. He asked angrily. Why did you beat Asuma Sarutobi like this? Why? Why? Ha 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 ha. After hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, Uchiha Manye chuckled. What are you laughing at? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Uchiha Manye, who suddenly laughed. He frowned and asked. You ask me why? Shouldn't you ask your giant baby son? Although Uchiha Manye's face was calm, a red flame was burning in his pupils, he said in a strong voice. What is that Uchiha Manye giant baby? Jiraiya scratched his head and asked inappropriately. Only the body has grown, the consciousness is still in the infant stage, and the mind thinks about having a father every day, not a giant baby. Uchiha Manye replied to Jiraiya word by word. Good word. Ha ha ha. After understanding what the giant baby meant, Jiraiya could no longer hold back and burst into laughter, and everyone present, after hearing Uchiha Manye's explanation of how to give this word to Sarutobi Asuma, also shut their mouths, not daring to laugh out loud for the sake of the sandame's face. Jiraiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen could no longer hold back and roared at Jiraiya. Jiraiya's smile stopped instantly, and then he quickly covered his mouth with both hands. Why did you say that about Asuma? Sarutobi Hiruzen suppressed his uncontrollable anger and angrily questioned Uchiha Manye. 11 Reading Everyday Fun, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why? Then let me ask the Hokage first. Uchiha Manye ignored Sarutobi Hiruzen's angry questioning, he smiled faintly and asked back. What exactly did your precious son do on the battlefield this time? You. Sarutobi Hiruzen was speechless for a moment when he heard Uchiha Manye's question. He knew exactly what Sarutobi Asuma was doing on the battlefield this time. He had put a lot of effort into it in order to give Sarutobi Asuma a good reputation on the battlefield and let him hold a high position in Konoha in the future. This time, he arranged Sarutobi Asuma in the logistics department of the war. Not only Sarutobi Asuma, he also arranged most of his Sarutobi clan members in the logistics department, because the logistics department was the least dangerous, except for dealing with sneak attacks from hostile forces. They basically would not encounter battles, and the Sarutobi clan members he arranged in the logistics department basically had good strength or were human beings with strong talents. If they encountered sneak attacks from the enemy, there was basically no scenario that they could not cope with. And in order to cover up his tracks, Sarutobi Hiruzen would not arrange all the Sarutobi clan members in the logistics department. Some Sarutobi clan members with extremely poor talents and weak strength would be arranged by Sarutobi Hiruzen in various battlefields. In this way, basically every battlefield will see the Sarutobi clan fighting with them. Naturally, they will not think of the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, in order to protect his own clan members. Actually arranged all of his clan members in the logistics department, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was also very cautious. He did not arrange all of Sarutobi Hiruzen in one logistics department. After all, one team is full of his Sarutobi clan, some people with ulterior motives. I'm afraid he would think of something, so the third Hokage not only arranged his own clansmen in the logistics department, those who were very close to him and had certain talents would also be arranged in the logistics department. And there were quite a few people in Konoha who were close to the third Hokage. So in the logistics department, it seemed that there were many various people who don't know each other. Others naturally can't see that there are any unusual problems in their logistics department. After all, even the logistics department themselves don't know. They seem to have no connection, but they are closely connected by the thread of the third Hokage. Sarutobi Asuma was arranged by himself in the logistics department with the strongest comprehensive strength. Basically, he doesn't need to consider his own safety. He only needs to follow the large team every day to get the glorious honor of participating in the Third Ninja World War for Konoha. Such things, Sarutobi Hiruzen had already done this in the original novel. Asuma went to the land of fire to be a guard, just to get a gilded look. Sarutobi Hiruzen pondered for a moment. Suddenly, he came up with a plan. He said to Uchiha Manye with a serious face. Although Asuma did not engage the enemy head-on this time, he was in the logistics department transporting supplies to the troops. But he is also working for the entire battlefield. Why are you asking this? Sarutobi Hiruzen was not stupid enough. He made up a lie that Sarutobi Asuma was fighting on the battlefield to answer Uchiha Manye. Although the people are ignorant, they are not blind. This kind of thing can be known almost immediately. It is useless to cover up the lie and spread it. That the people around who heard the third Hokage's words also nodded. Obviously, they all had no objection to what the third Hokage said. Then they turned their attention to Uchiha Manye. Why would he ask such a question to the third Hokage? That is, Sarutobi Asuma was assigned by you to the most secure logistics department on the battlefield. After hearing this, Uchiha Manye continued to ask Sarutobi Hiruzen. Manye, what you said is wrong. Although Asuma is in the logistics department, it was not arranged by me. After hearing what Uchiha Manye said, Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly realized that there was something wrong with his words and immediately scolded him. If the villagers thought that he had deliberately arranged Sarutobi Asuma in the dangerous logistics department, how would they view themselves as the Hokage in the future? Okay, then please ask Mr. Hokage. Did Asuma Sarutobi ever fight an enemy in this battle and get injured once? Uchiha Manye asked again without paying attention to Sarutobi Hiruzen's scolding. This. I don't know about this. Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated for a moment before answering after hearing Uchiha Manye's words. Although he knew all of Sarutobi Asuma's experiences in this battle, because Sarutobi Asuma's logistics department was the closest to Konoha and had the strongest overall strength. He had never encountered a battle and had never been injured. But these words, but I can't say it out of my mouth at this moment. Well, since the Hokage doesn't know, I can tell you. The logistics department where Asuma Sarutobi is located is the closest to Konoha. And the overall strength of the ninja is the strongest in the army. Although the logistics department encountered small groups of enemies. But Sarutobi Asuma was always at the core of the army, and it was impossible for the enemy to get in front of him. Therefore, Sarutobi Asuma did not fight any enemy at all during the Third Ninja World War. Nature. I have never been injured once. Uchiha Manye said in a loud voice. He told the story of Sarutobi Asuma's 3 battles one by one. What, the Third World War lasted so long, and Asuma Sarutobi didn't fight with anyone? This shouldn't be the case. More than half of our Konoha ninjas were killed or injured in this battle. And the Hokage's son, Baru, has Asuma always been called a genius? He should be extremely powerful now. How is it possible that we haven't even fought a single enemy? Yes. I remember that Asuma Sarutobi is very powerful. When we were in school, we were beaten. How could you not have fought with someone before? A man with a forehead protector and a bandage wrapped around his left half stood up and asked excitedly. He was a student who graduated from the ninja school with Asuma Sarutobi. His talent was not outstanding. After studying step by step for 8 years, he barely reached the graduation standard. Sarutobi Asuma was originally his junior, however. Because of his poor talent, he delayed graduation for 2 years, so Sarutobi Asuma is at the same level as him. He is very concerned about Sarutobi Asuma, the son of the Hokage. He would go to watch every ninjutsu practice of Sarutobi Asuma in the academy. At that time, Sarutobi Asuma's strength far surpassed his peers. He often compares himself now with Sarutobi Asuma back then. He is very sure that he has just reached the strength of Sarutobi Asuma in the past, that is, a special genin. He can be sure that Sarutobi Asuma's current strength has far surpassed that of the past, but Uchiha Manye said this. Sarutobi Asuma, who is so much stronger than him, has not fought with anyone, because he is covered in wounds from the war. How can he accept such a thing? Brother, you believe the words of the Uchiha clan. 11 Read books every day, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, a man with a pointed face and monkey cheeks in the crowd spoke up. Then he turned around and said loudly to the people around him. As far as I know, this Uchiha Manye didn't seem to participate in this battle. How did he know about Sarutobi Asuma's involvement in the Third Ninja World War? It's nonsense at first glance. By the way, during the Third World War, Uchiha Manye was indeed in the village. At this time, someone in the crowd stood up and said, he did not participate in the Third Ninja World War. Instead, he stayed in the village to guard. Naturally, he knew that Uchiha Manye had been in the village during this period and did not participate in the Third Ninja World War, so I think this person is just making up stories to sow discord between us and the Hokage. It is certain that this person, without any evidence, slandered Asuma Sarutobi like this. This is simply unforgivable. Phew. I just saw his calm demeanor. It was almost done. Luckily someone came out to help me. Uchiha Manye, why do you slander Asuma Sarutobi like this? People gradually began to denounce Uchiha Manye. Sarutobi Hiruzen heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the fishing reel falling towards him. He knew very well that what Uchiha Manye said just now was all true, although he didn't know how he knew about this. After seeing everyone start to talk about Asuma, Sarutobi Hiruzen still felt a little chill behind him, now seeing that everyone started to speak for him because of one person's words. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at that person with gratitude. Sarutobi Hiruzen kept his joy in his heart to himself and quietly watched Uchiha Manye, who was attacked by the fishing reel. Under the attack of everyone's fishing reels, Uchiha Manye's face did not change at all. At that time, a beautiful girl of 12 or 13 years old slowly walked out of the crowd and came to Uchiha Manye's side. Hokage-sama. Manye-sensei. Kurenai greeted Uchiha Manye and Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hong, what are you doing here? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the girl in front of him and asked seriously. Teacher Manye, I was the one who told Teacher Manye all this, so I must stand up and prove it for him. Hong looked at the imposing Sarutobi Hiruzen in front of him. Without the slightest fear, she replied in a clear and sweet voice. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned when he heard Yuhi Kurenai's answer. At this time, Sarutobi Asuma, who had recovered more than half of his injuries, rushed over and shouted hurriedly. Asuma Sarutobi, how many times have I told you not to call me Hong? My name is Kurenai Yuhi. Looking at Asuma Sarutobi with some broken red palm prints on his face, Kurenai Yuhi could not help but frown and shouted angrily. The disgust in her eyes was self-evident. Kurenai Yuhi was extremely disgusted with Asuma Sarutobi, who looked nearly 20 years old but was only 15 years old. He had an uncle's face, but he pestered her like a child every day. Asuma Sarutobi was at a loss because of Kurenai Yuhi. Hokage-sama, when I was in the logistics department, Asuma Sarutobi often harassed me, which bothered me a lot. At that time, I would send letters to Teacher Many from time to time, telling him about some of my troubles in the army, and also mention some things about Asuma. Yuhi Kurenai ignored Asuma Sarutobi and continued to report to Sarutobi Hiruzen. When Yuhi Kurenai was still in the ninja school, Uchiha Manye provided her with a lot of help. At that time, Yuhi Kurenai always respectfully called Uchiha Manye as teacher. The relationship between the two has always been very close. Whenever Yuhi Kurenai was in the logistics department and was troubled by Asuma Sarutobi's harassment or the war, she would send a letter to Uchiha Manye in her spare time, obviously. Uchiha Manye learned about it because of this, so Yuhi Kurenai stood up to defend Uchiha Manye. Asuma, is what Kurenai said true? Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and asked knowingly. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to curse. If Asuma hadn't begged him to put Kurenai in a team with him, this wouldn't have happened. Yes, it's true. After hearing his father's words, Sarutobi Asuma came back to his senses. He replied timidly. Well, Uchiha Manye, you are right. Asuma did not get a chance to fight in this war, but he is still contributing to Konoha's war, and this is not a reason for you to fight him. Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately thought of a countermeasure and asked Uchiha Manye, the most important thing now is not to let people think that he, as a Hokage, is protecting his family in the war. If someone follows the line of Sarutobi Asuma and associates it with the members of the Sarutobi clan that he has arranged in various logistics departments, the situation will be bad. So Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly changed the subject and pointed the finger at Uchiha Manye. The words of the third generation also successfully dispelled the doubts of most people present. They all focused their attention on Uchiha Manye. Okay. Then I would like to ask Mr. Hokage. A person who has not shed a drop of blood in this war, and has not fought for a moment, is he qualified to insult the warriors who fought bloody battles for Konoha? Uchiha Manye's voice suddenly rose, questioning. No. Sarutobi Hiruzen gave an answer instantly. At this time, almost all the ninjas in the village were staring at him. There could be no hesitation on such a question. Then let me ask you, Lord Hokage, is it wrong to slap a scum who insults a warrior? That's right. Sarutobi Hiruzen answered without hesitation. Now the whole village was watching his attitude. How could Sarutobi Hiruzen ignore such a question from Uchiha Manye? But almost at the same time he gave the answer, his face suddenly became ugly. Are you saying that Asuma insulted the soldiers who were fighting on the front lines? P.S. Please give me flowers. Please give me monthly tickets. Please urge me to update. Please give me rewards. The author updates more than 7 chapters a day. I have prepared 20 chapters today. I will keep updating as long as the data is still increasing. Reading during the Dragon Boat Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's right, just now, Sarutobi Asuma turned black and white, saying that our Uchiha clan was a red-eyed clan, and said that our Uchiha clan had countless casualties and made great contributions, but said that they were just killing the wounded. Stolen work. Uchiha Manye paused here. Humph. He sneered twice, staring at Sarutobi Hiruzen, whose face was becoming increasingly ugly. He continued. Comparing the warriors who fought desperately to the sick, and comparing the merits gained at the cost of their lives to stealing. Why can't I slap him twice? Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression gradually changed as Uchiha Manye spoke. Asuma, is what Uchiha Manye said true? Sarutobi Hiruzen suppressed his anger, he spat out a few words from between his teeth and asked Sarutobi Asuma. Father, Hokage, what this Uchiha Manye said is wrong. I have never insulted the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi Asuma replied with a look of resentment. At this moment, Sarutobi Asuma did not think he was wrong at all. When he was in the logistics department, there was a member of the Sarutobi clan who was injured and retreated to the logistics department on the battlefield of the water country. He once told him how evil and shameless the Uchiha clan was. What the Sarutobi clan member said was not entirely false, almost 9 out of 10 were false, but it was precisely because he discovered this one point of truth and did not discover the other 9 points of falsehood that Sarutobi Hiruzen always regarded his words as a criterion. That's why the incident of mocking the Uchiha clan today happened. Shut up, Sarutobi Hiruzen scolded him without caring about his son. If these words were said in the tribe at other times, Sarutobi Asuma would have said them, but now, they were said in front of the whole village. Once such words were said, some villagers would definitely feel resentful. At this time, some people who had not seen what happened just now, after hearing what Sarutobi Asuma had just said, their faces instantly turned ugly. Even if they hated the Uchiha clan's usual temper, it was true that the Uchiha clan fought desperately for Konoha. Now they were slandered by the son of the Hokage. They couldn't help but feel a little sad. Uchiha Manye, if Sarutobi Asuma really does this, you are right. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked extremely unhappy, but he had to pretend to be calm. He asked Uchiha Manye seriously. Before Uchiha Manye could reply, Sarutobi Asuma suddenly spoke. Hokage, I didn't insult the Uchiha clan, nor did I insult the Uchiha clan's military achievements. Sarutobi Asuma suddenly thought of a plan, that is, all the people around him just now were talking to him. Since there are more people who don't know the truth gathered on the field now, as long as those people just concealed what they did just like before, then Uchiha Manye's words would be refuted. Most of the people who saw the whole process looked ugly when they heard Sarutobi Asuma's words. Everyone, is what Sarutobi Asuma said wrong? Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned, he looked around and asked seriously. Hokage, I can guarantee that Asuma Sarutobi did not insult the Uchiha clan just now. At this time, the man with a pointed face and monkey cheeks spoke again. After hearing the man's words, most people who knew about the matter felt extremely uncomfortable. However, no one dared to be the first one to stand up and offend the Hokage. No one wanted to be the first person to stand up and offend the Hokage. Yes. Lord Hokage, Sarutobi Asuma did not insult the Uchiha clan at all. Hokage, what Asuma Sarutobi said is true. No one dared to be the first to stand up and offend the Hokage, but some people were willing to stand up and defend the Hokage's son, Asuma Sarutobi. More and more people spoke up for Asuma Sarutobi. Those who knew the truth looked around in disbelief. They seemed to want to ask them how they had colluded. They actually started to defend Asuma Sarutobi so tacitly. It's not like that. It's not like that. Hokage-sama. Suddenly, a black mushroom-headed boy rushed out of the crowd, shouting. Hokage-sama. Might Guy came to the sandame, panting. Might Guy, if you have anything to say, just tell me. When Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Might Guy running out, he knew that the situation was developing in an uncontrollable direction, but he couldn't help but ask Might Guy what happened. Hokage. I just saw the whole process here. Sarutobi Asuma did insult the Uchiha clan's warriors, saying that the Uchiha clan's warriors had red eyes, and also said that the Uchiha clan's military exploits were all picked up by picking up leaks. It's not what you all say, Might Guy explained to everyone impatiently. Not to mention that he had received a lot of favors from Uchiha Manye when he was in the ninja school. His father died in the battle with the 7 mist ninjas. His father once specifically told him that the Uchiha clan was a trustworthy comrade in arms and had saved him several times. Might Guy also felt that he should stand up emotionally and rationally. Sarutobi Asuma, is there any truth in what Might Guy said? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked Sarutobi Asuma angrily. He was not angry because Sarutobi Asuma did this, but because this matter was made public. Might Guy, you are just talking nonsense. I didn't insult the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi Asuma's face was extremely distorted. He looked at Might Guy with resentment and said. Yes, I just saw it. Sarutobi Asuma did insult the Uchiha clan. Saw it too. Hokage, what Might Guy said is true. Asuma Sarutobi's ability to confuse right and wrong is simply terrifying. As the saying goes, the first bird to stick its head out gets shot. Now the first bird has flown out, those who were resentful but didn't dare to speak out naturally had no fear at this moment. Humph. Sarutobi Asuma, who was almost of no help on the battlefield, actually insulted the Uchiha clan, whose casualties in the water country were as high as 80%, and described their military exploits as stealing. Lord Hokage, I hope you can give me a reasonable explanation. Uchiha Manye sneered. He looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, whose face was extremely ugly. He questioned Sarutobi Hiruzen in a strong voice, and those who didn't know the truth at first, when they heard the answers given by everyone now, their faces changed drastically. They didn't expect Sarutobi Asuma to be so bold. He actually insulted the soldiers who fought bloody battles. And there were so many people who covered up the truth for him. This incident made them feel terrified, if they were to fight bloody battles for Konoha in the future, and were also tricked by Sarutobi Asuma. They dared not imagine the scene at that time. How dare Asuma Sarutobi insult the warriors fighting on the battlefield? Lord Hokage, you must give me an explanation. Yes. Lord Hokage, you must seek an explanation for us. Why can a person who has never shed a drop of blood on the battlefield insult the warriors on the battlefield at will? We must have an explanation. Explain, that the families in Konoha that were secretly oppressed by the Sarutobi clan took the lead in attacking the Hokage. Enjoy reading every day on Double 11, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Explain. Explain. Then more and more people shouted to confess. The voices echoed through the sky. At this moment, Sarutobi Asuma, who was being pointed at by thousands of people, was already frightened. Asuma Sarutobi. You must apologize to everyone in the Uchiha clan right now. Sarutobi Hiruzen no longer cared about his son. He yelled at Sarutobi Asuma, only the one who is recognized by everyone can be the Hokage. Once he loses everyone's recognition, he will naturally cease to exist as the Hokage. As the saying goes, water can carry a boat, but it can also overturn it. Moreover, Sarutobi Hiruzen has been building up his authority as the Hokage since he took office. The incident caused by Sarutobi Asuma today has reached an uncontrollable point. The only way now is to ask Sarutobi Asuma to apologize sincerely to alleviate the anger in everyone's hearts. Ah! Asuma Sarutobi was startled by his father's shout. Sarutobi Asuma, go and apologize to the Uchiha clan right now. Sarutobi Hiruzen yelled at Sarutobi Asuma again. Sarutobi Asuma was a little reluctant at first and wanted to quibble, but after seeing the anger in his father's eyes that he had never seen before, he was speechless. I was completely scared. I realized the seriousness of the situation. Go now. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not give Asuma Sarutobi a chance to reply. His eyes were full of anger. He said to Asuma Sarutobi in a stern voice. Yes. Sarutobi Asuma didn't dare to look at his father. After answering, he walked towards Uchiha Manye step by step as if there was a huge weight under his feet. As soon as Sarutobi Asuma bent down, he was stopped by Uchiha Manye. Don't apologize to me. What you need is for the entire Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan kneels down to apologize for all the souls that died in Konoha. The disgust in Uchiha Manye's eyes was unmistakable. What, you want me to kneel down? Sarutobi Asuma asked Uchiha Manye in disbelief. He is the son of the Hokage. Except for the ancestor worship, no one dared to make him kneel down and apologize. What? Is there no way? Are you just saying sorry lightly? Can it comfort the wounded and dead warriors' broken hearts? Uchiha Manye asked with a sneer. Kneel down and apologize. A ninja from the Uchiha clan suddenly shouted. Kneel down and apologize. Most of the people around were instantly aroused. They all asked Sarutobi Asuma to kneel down and apologize to the Uchiha clan. You guys. Asuma Sarutobi kept looking at the people who scolded him, as if he wanted to remember every one of them in his heart. Sarutobi Asuma. Kneel down and apologize to the Uchiha clan right now. Sarutobi Hiruzen shouted at Sarutobi Asuma again, but he didn't dare and couldn't give Sarutobi Asuma a little more time to think about it. It would cause public outrage. This would directly shake the foundation of his Hokage. Father. I don't want to. In a hurry, Asuma Sarutobi even forgot his father's instructions to him. Sarutobi Hiruzen once said that it would not affect calling him father in front of him, he could only call him the third generation. When Asuma Sarutobi uttered a word, Sarutobi Hiruzen realized that something bad was going to happen and immediately interrupted Asuma Sarutobi. Kneel down and apologize to the Uchiha clan immediately. Sarutobi Hiruzen's voice rose again, the anger on his face could no longer be concealed. Gudong. Asuma Sarutobi saw the anger on Hiruzen Sarutobi's face, he couldn't help swallowing his saliva, hot sweat began to rise on his forehead, his eyes gradually became horrified. Kneel down and apologize. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw that Sarutobi Asuma had not made any move, he said angrily again. Sarutobi Asuma was frightened again, his knees bent down involuntarily. Pa! Sarutobi Hiruzen's knees fell to the ground. I shouldn't have insulted the warriors and spirits of the Uchiha clan. I'm sorry. Sarutobi Asuma gritted his teeth and spat out these words, then he quickly tried to get up, however, Uchiha Manye held him down. 3 kowtows and 9 bows. Uchiha Manye looked at Sarutobi Asuma kneeling on the ground and said a few words coldly. What? After hearing what Uchiha Manye said, Sarutobi Asuma instantly became angry and tried to stand up, however, Uchiha Manye held him down with one hand and he could not stand up. Impossible, 3 kowtows and 9 bows are absolutely impossible. Sarutobi Asuma knelt on the ground and shouted angrily to Uchiha Manye, 3 kowtows and 9 bows are a ritual handed down from ancient times, generally used to worship one's deceased ancestors. In this era, the status of ninjas is very special, even the daimyo who is in power in a country dare not let the ninjas kneel down and worship him. Now Uchiha Manye wants him to kowtow 3 times and 9 bows to the Uchiha clan. How can Sarutobi Asuma agree to this? You insulted the warriors who died protecting you. Why can't you perform the 3 kowtows and 9 bows? Uchiha once said in a resounding voice, then he pressed down Sarutobi Asuma's right hand and exerted force. Sarutobi Asuma's body immediately sank down, his knees left a shallow mark. No, absolutely not. Although his knees were in severe pain, Sarutobi Asuma still clenched his teeth and kept saying. Why not? You insult the warriors who are protecting you. Why Konoha we kowtow 3 times and bow 9 times to them? Are you going to give him back the life you saved? At this time, a man with his right half wrapped in bandages and a trace of blood stood up and asked Sarutobi Asuma in a strong voice. Today, either give your life back to those soldiers, or perform the ritual of 3 bows and 9 kowtows. Suddenly, another man from an unknown family stood up and appealed to the crowd. Yes. Either you or your life. Either perform the ritual of 3 kowtows and 9 bows. Either pay back your life or perform the ritual of 3 kowtows and 9 bows. Countless people were shouting on the field, the sound was like shaking the heavens and the earth. This is not going to be easy, teacher. Jiraiya listened to the thunderous sound in his ears and shook his head gently, but his expression did not change at all. At this moment, Jiraiya did not feel sorry for his teacher at all, he had discovered that his teacher seemed to have changed. The current Konoha did not seem to be the Konoha he had imagined. At the same time, Tsunade and Orochimaru also watched the scene in front of them coldly. There was no sympathy at all, there was still some joy in their hearts. Can you kowtow 3 times and bow 9 times? Uchiha Manye asked Sarutobi Asuma again. Me. Asuma Sarutobi was completely stunned at this moment, he didn't expect that he just insulted the Uchiha clan, everyone actually wanted him to pay with his life. At this moment, Asuma Sarutobi's forehead, 11 reading every day, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you able to perform the 3 kowtows and 9 bows ceremony? Uchiha Manye saw that Sarutobi Asuma had not replied yet, he asked loudly. I can do it, Sarutobi Asuma said subconsciously. He subconsciously thought that if he didn't choose to kowtow 3 times and 9 times, then he would have to die. and he obviously didn't want to die. Let's get started. After hearing Asuma Sarutobi's answer, Uchiha Manye released his hand. Asuma Sarutobi slowly stood up, then his body began to bend down slowly. He bowed to the Uchiha clan, then Asuma Sarutobi stood up again. He bowed twice to the Uchiha clan. After 3 bows, Asuma Sarutobi's knees began to bend gradually. Asuma Sarutobi, who was kneeling on the ground, bent half of his body down. His forehead gently touched the ground. Bang! A barely audible crashing sound was heard. Then Sarutobi Asuma stood up again. He repeated the same etiquette twice to the Uchiha clan. After Sarutobi Asuma finished his 3 kowtows and 9 bows, Uchiha Manye let him stand up straight. Lord Hokage, the matter here is over, that we will take our leave first. Uchiha Manye asked Sarutobi Hiruzen for instructions. Go. Everyone, go back and rest. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was livid with anger, but he had no other options, because Uchiha Manye was completely right. The right time, right place, and right people were all on his side. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Uchiha Manye with a gloomy look in his eyes. It was obvious that the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, had already remembered what Uchiha Manye did today. The obedient Uchiha was the Uchiha who could survive in Konoha, the disobedient Uchiha, 4. Sarutobi Hiruzen, he is the second Uchiha Madara. And today, Uchiha Manye's tough performance has made Sarutobi Hiruzen have other thoughts in his mind. At the signal of the Sandaime Hokage, everyone began to disperse gradually. However, everyone remembered a name today. That was Uchiha Manye. This man dared to slap the son of the Hokage wildly. The Hokage asked the child to apologize to him. Those who hated the Hokage secretly admired Uchiha Manye. After Uchiha Manye thanked Kurenai Yuhi and Might Guy, he followed the Uchiha troops and rushed to his own clan land. Along the way, there were members of the Uchiha clan who expressed their gratitude to Uchiha Manye. Uchiha Manye naturally did not become arrogant because of this. He repeatedly explained that all this was due to their own reasons. It was not because of him that the son of the Hokage apologized like this. However, the people of the Uchiha clan truly admired Uchiha Manye in their hearts. This member of the clan was so humble internally and extremely arrogant externally. The road was bustling. Soon, everyone returned to the clan land of the Uchiha clan. Why didn't Big Brother lead the team to participate in Konoha's triumphal ceremony? Instead, he secretly took his people back to the clan land. Uchiha Manye asked the person next to him. Master Wanya, you also know. The clan leader doesn't like seeing the third Hokage. So he led his people back to the tribe. Then an Uchiha explained to him. It seems that the eldest brother really hates the third generation. He didn't even attend the triumphal ceremony. Uchiha couldn't help but sigh. At this moment, several figures suddenly appeared not far away. They were rushing towards Uchiha Manye. The people who came were Uchiha Fuchio and several attendants. Little brother. Big brother. Uchiha Manye and Uchiha Fuchio simply greeted each other. Brother, did you beat Asuma Sarutobi? Theta Euros right, brother, how did you know that? We still have people stationed at Konoha. Naturally, I know about this. There are too many of you and your actions are slow. So they came back to tell me before you did. I see. You did a great job in seeking justice for the Uchiha clan. We are proud of you. Uchiha Fugaku gave Uchiha Manye a thumbs up and praised him with a smile. Then Uchiha Fuchio comforted the Uchiha people for a few words. He asked the clansmen who returned from the battlefield to return to their homes to recuperate first. He also told them that at the commendation meeting, everyone's merits would be counted one by one. They didn't have to worry too much and just rest and recover. After everyone left, Uchiha Manye was also ready to say goodbye, but he was stopped by Uchiha Fuchio. He insisted on dragging Uchiha Manye to his home for dinner. Uchiha Manye couldn't persuade him, so he was dragged to his home by Uchiha Fuchio for dinner. Manye's sister-in-law, Uchiha Mikoto, prepared a sumptuous dinner. Uchiha Manye ate a lot. After dinner, Uchiha Manye ignored Uchiha Fuchio's repeated requests to stay and insisted on returning to his empty home. He fell into a wonderful dream. Today is a happy day for the Uchiha clan. Because the son of the current Hokage actually performed the great ceremony of 3 kowtows and 9 bows to the Uchiha clan. Similarly, the name of Uchiha Manye, the initiator, was also firmly remembered by the clan members of the Uchiha clan. The next day, Uchiha Manye walked out of the large mansion that belonged to him alone. "Are you still signing in there today?" Walking on the streets of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Manye stroked his chin and thought softly. "Hey! That's not it." Uchiha Manye softened his eyes and looked ahead carefully. He found the black-haired boy with lifeless eyes standing under the cherry tree. Uchiha Manye walked over slowly. The boy didn't notice someone approaching him quietly. "Itachi!" Uchiha Manye's palm suddenly touched Uchiha Itachi's thin shoulder and called softly. "Oh! It's my uncle." Uchiha Itachi was not frightened by the sudden appearance of Uchiha Manye. He turned his head and replied softly. Seeing Uchiha Itachi's calm appearance, Uchiha Manye knew, it seems. What was supposed to happen still happened. Uchiha Fugaku brought Uchiha Itachi to the battlefield. Itachi began to think about one thing, that is, what is the meaning of life? Read books every day during Double 11, top up 100 and get 500 VIP coupons.